I'm joined in the studio this morning by GBEMISOLA. SOYEMI. Good morning, Gbemi.
Good morning. I'll quickly take headlines from Premium Times. This one here says, Hush Puppy makes U-turn, pleads guilty to fraud charges in US. APC may lose power if Governor Boni retains interim chairman, Buhari's minister warns. Abuja, Lagos, others in darkness as Nigeria's electricity grid collapses again. Also from Premium Times, why EFCC arrested ex-Governor Al Makura and wife. That's coming from some sources. Rivers government begins process to ban open grazing. Court frees El Zazaki wife, says they have no case to answer. And finally from Premium Times, Nigerian government generated less than 1 billion naira from gaming industry in 2019 from a minister. And I'll take this one. Notorious bandits arrested in Sokoto. Those are headlines from Premium Times.
All right, we have the time coming up to 11 minutes past 6. We'll take a break for some messages. When we come back, we'll introduce our analyst today and we'll highlight the talking points in the news today. Stay with us.
Let your kids' imaginations run wild as they blast off into a whole new world of awesome edutainment on DSTV. There's a huge selection of shows to choose from, like Miraculous Tales of Ladybug and Cat Noir on Disney Channel.
She's so amazing.
A Week to Beat the World on Da Vinci.
I've never seen a sport like it.
Grizzy and the Lemmings on Boomerang. And Nick Music on Nicktunes.
Can I get a drum roll, please?
It's your moment to get and stay connected to the wonderful world of DSTV.
Ever thought about how movies always have soundtracks to epic moments? So, tell me, what sounds do you hear when you know you're going to hit that target out of the ceiling? It probably sounds something like this.
Go for it, go for it, go for it, go for it, go for it.
Sounds like Dano Milk cheering you on, doesn't it? Arla Dano, available in many variants to nourish you every step of the way.
It's not our gender that defines or connects us. It's our shared humanity. It gives us a deep connection that brings hope to a community, helping them get access to better health, education, and a means of continued livelihood through Airtel Touching Lives Season 6.
Nominate an individual, community, or organization that deserves help today. Call or send an SMS to 367 or send an email to touchinglives@ng.airtel.com.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Egbògi kan ti délẹ̀ yìí, egbògi àtẹ̀jẹ̀ ṣe ni, ó dára fẹ̀jẹ̀ gidi gan. Veneto cleanser ló ń jẹ́ o. Veneto cleanser ló ń jẹ́ o.
Ojú rẹ̀ ṣàǹjọ̀lọ̀ lójoojúmọ́ kí làṣírí ẹ wà rí.
Veneto cleanser ni. Já mi sí ọ̀rẹ́. Veneto cleanser egbògi àtẹ̀jẹ̀ṣe tí bádọ̀tí ara wọ̀ yá ìjà rẹ̀ wọ́n mọ́lẹ̀ ṣe wọ́n yẹbẹyẹbẹ. Inú tó ń kú tó ń dàrú gbòdògbòdò kò bára rẹ̀ èrí inú ẹ̀jẹ̀. Amọ̀nà ti dé o. Veneto cleanser egbògi àtẹ̀jẹ̀ṣe tí a fi ewé àti egbò ṣe ní ọ̀nà tìgbàlódé. NAFDAC Fòǹtẹ̀lù Emi1 Nigeria Limited ni wọ́n gbé Veneto cleanser jáde. A wà ní nọ́mbà 17 Ọba Akínyẹlé off Adeogun Street Aláàfin Avenue Olúyọ̀lé Estate Ring Road Ìbàdàn. Telephone 08034051533 fún títà àti rírà. Ìwọ náà darapọ̀ mọ́ wa. Veneton cleanser àmọ̀tẹ́kùn egbòogi tí ya gbogbo kòkòrò inú ẹ̀jẹ̀ wẹ́lẹ́wẹ́lẹ́.
Here we are all champions. With 2 months Showmax Pro for the price of one, you can stream all of the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games and more. Witness history in the making and salute the power of the human spirit. Here we honor every story in every event. Let's celebrate together with 2 months for the price of one. Stream the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020 live from Supersport on Showmax Pro. Sign up to watch world-class sports, series, movies, and more at showmax.com today.
32 FM 94.9.
Well, welcome back once again. The time is 15 minutes past 6. It's Thursday morning, and the program is Newspaper Review. My name is DELE ADEYANJU.
And I am GBEMISOLA SOYEMI.
Dr. Olu Ojadokun is our analyst today. Good morning, Doc.
Well, top of the day to you.
All right, quickly we look at some issues in the news today. We have a report from the Punch newspaper. United States lawmakers are holding down a proposed sale of attack helicopters to Nigeria amid mounting concerns about the Muhammadu Buhari's regime's human rights record as it grapples with multiple security crises. U.S. lawmakers on the Senate's Foreign Relations Committee reportedly delayed clearing a proposed sale of 12 AH-1 Cobra attack helicopters and accompanying defense systems to the Nigerian military. The deal is worth $875 million. But in other news, as contained in Vanguard newspaper, the presidency, in its reaction to the allegation that the U.S. Senate Committee on Foreign Relations had called for a halt to the proposed sale of attack helicopters to Nigeria over concerns bordering on authoritarianism, human rights abuses, and the government's role in the end-SARS protest, said that Nigeria will get every necessary assistance it wants from the U.S. government. A presidency source who pleaded not to be named because of the sensitivity of the matter said that Nigeria and the U.S. government have no problems, adding that the two countries have a good relationship. Does the House Committee, do those members have a good standing to halt those sales?
Well, the fact that they've called for it is an indictment, of course, on the current Nigerian government. The fact that they've called for it, at the end of the day, it's an executive decision. It is taken by the President of the United States. And, of course, there's no way that committee can veto it. But that they've raised it is an issue, and it means it can delay the process. But also, we've been here before. Remember that the Congress in the past, during the Obama administration particularly, delayed and even cancelled some sales that Nigeria was going to transacted because of this same human rights issue. We are going back in time. We are going back in terms of progress, and it indicates that the federal government has some questions to answer and need to resolve these issues quickly. Otherwise, we become a pariah nation again, and we start going to Eastern Europe and countries in the outer reaches to look for weapons, as happened even during Jonathan's administration.
In as much as the eyes of the world is on Nigeria and its leadership at the moment, does that mean that the House do not actually have a say whether the transaction sails through or not?
You mean our House or the House in the United States?
Yeah, the House.
That's the.
You're saying that the president of America doesn't have just have to move on with
yes, he can if he wants to.
What if the House or the committee insists that they're not going to?
They have to pass a law. They can't just pass a resolution. They can advise the president, but the president takes the decision. But if they pass a law, then of course the president of the United States is subject to the law, as indeed any other person, in the United States. But because they haven't passed the law, they haven't even passed the resolution, but it's a warning sign, a warning signal, and of course the president of the United States will take it seriously to investigate. What has happened is that Nigerians and some interested parties have put pressure on their representatives to say that what's going on in Nigeria, you need to have a closer look in terms of foreign policy, in terms of the way they treat their people, in terms of human rights abuses, and so on and so forth. And I think it puts Nigeria under the spotlight. I also think the message to the Nigerian government is that you cannot act with impunity because people are watching.
Now, what's the relationship between the two countries, even since Obama, or even since his predecessor?
Well, it's steady as you go. I'm not sure that Biden is a particular fan of President Buhari nor President Trump. But I think they need Nigeria. Nigeria is the largest country in Africa. If Nigeria implodes, then Africa implodes.
Is it true that at a point in time, Obama was not actually cool with President Jonathan at that time?
It certainly wasn't, because if he was cool, he would have visited Nigeria. He visited Ghana, remember? He visited, of course, Kenya, where his ancestors, his father comes from. And I'm not sure, but I think South Africa. So if he was cool, he would have visited Nigeria, because Nigeria is of such strategic importance.
Now, was it about the leadership of the country, or about some dealings that are not known to the common Nigerians?
No, I think it's about the leadership of the country, and I think it's the signal that it sends, that Nigeria is not where it should be. Our foreign policy is nowhere. We don't have a discernible foreign policy. We have a foreign minister, but we don't see the actions of him being there. He's well educated, well trained, a lawyer with many qualifications. Well, our foreign policy is not clear, so we're not projecting ourselves in the way we should. What is the cornerstone of Nigerian foreign policy? I can't point to it. I mean, I have experience in international relations. After all, I have a research degree in it, so I should be able to speak on it. Nigerian foreign policy is not even aiding our national interest, which is taking us to the next level in terms of development.
But we have a lot of Nigerians making exploits in the U.S.
Yes, but a lot of those Nigerians making exploit in the U.S. Where is their allegiance? Most of their allegiance lies in the U.S. Or the U.K. And even when money is repatriated, they make it more difficult for the money because they send a lot of remittances and so on. It's been made more difficult. So at the end of the day, those people that are supposed to be Nigerians and the U.S. and the U.K., they don't even have the right to vote. The diasporans don't. So the connection, yes, it should be our advantage to have many people abroad so that they remit. But when we don't treat them with dignity, with respect, or take into consideration their views, it raises some questions.
Now, Doctor, how do we reconcile what this U.S. Senate Committee on Foreign Relations is saying with the presidency living in denial and saying that all necessary or every necessary assistance will be gotten from the United States government?
We are not sure we can exactly say they're living in denial because there might be some information that they have that we don't have. From that point of view, there might be some assurances that they've received. But if you look at the tenor of the report, then you may indicate that maybe they're just living in hope and hoping that this House of Reps, you understand, or the House Committee is just making noise. And it won't affect, of course, what the government will do. Governments don't relate legislature to legislature. They relate executive to executive, But there are a number of things that go into those relationships.
It's recorded that this whole procuring of attack helicopters started from President Goodluck Jonathan's era, and that was why I said that maybe he was not cool with Obama. Obama was not cool with him because of all these procurement dealings and all that.
Well, I don't think it's so much about that, from that point of view, but I get the point.
At that time, we wanted Americans to assist us to fight Boko Haram.
Yes, but remember that they came in, some advanced team came in to help us.
From the US.
Yes, and they had to leave when they discovered that there were some shenanigans going on, hanky-panky. And some of those hanky-panky was that some people were feeding the Boko Haram or feeding those people with information that the Americans had shared with the Nigerians. And so they felt, what's the point staying here? These people are not really serious. And that's one of the reasons they left. But I still feel that they felt that there were some gross violations, which I'm not sure was justified then, under the administration of Jonathan, even before the Obasanjo's administration. And they felt that the only way to leverage Nigeria, you understand, is by putting a stop on those attack helicopters. Cobra is one of the most modern, most effective. And with Cobra, obviously, you can go at a lower level rather than very high. And you can go after the terrorists and so on and so forth. Very versatile piece of kit.
Now, can we conclude, before we wrap up this story, can we conclude that this present administration is trampling on human rights? Can we prove it?
Well, you saw what happened to El Zaki yesterday. They said he has no case to answer. Do you know how many of his supporters have been killed? So I said killed. Yes, many of them have been killed. And he suffered, yes, his sons. Yes, you made that. Even his sons, 6 sons. And family members and so on and so forth. And so you then ask the question, what was all that for? For a man that has now been presumed innocent. He's gone through all that. So I wouldn't say that this is a government that respects human rights. See the way that some people have been picked up. Sometimes people are picked up 5 days, 6 days, we hear nothing. And it's only later on that we hear that they've been charged to court. Normally it's 24 hours, at the most 48 hours. What of the case of Nnamdi Kanu? The court, because the court decides. The court did not decide who should cover it, you understand? It was DSS that decided 10 media houses who should cover it. The court did not decide those who should come in or go out, but the DSS decided. So there are a lot of abuses going on, from that point of view. There's also the African Charter. I mentioned in a program recently that under Shehu Shagari, we adopted the African Charter on Human Rights. It was domesticated. And Article 20 of the African Charter says there's an inalienable right to self-determination. And yet, there's no evidence that the federal government respects that. So when you look at all this litany, or some might say legion, you understand, then you begin to question whether this federal government, whether they understand, whether they appreciate what human rights is about. Are we living in a state or in a country that is free, where we can have peaceful assembly, protest, and so on and so forth? No, we are not, in my view anyway, and I may be wrong.
Now, with this El Zaki's case that you mentioned, he has been discharged.
Yes.
Does that should that tell us something about the government as against we trying to prove that the federal government is, or the present administration is trampling on the rights of humans? Should this prove otherwise?
Well, it doesn't prove otherwise. What it tells us, remember, it's the courts that made the decision. first and foremost, it indicates that he was brought on flimsy charges, on charges that have no basis. When you have a no-case submission, it means that you shouldn't even have been brought in the first place. You didn't go through trial. Trial is when you give your defense and the prosecution obviously puts forward its case and you respond accordingly. He didn't go through that. It was at the case of, we have no case to answer. We shouldn't have been arraigned before the court, and the court agreed with him, which means that many of the cases of treason and so on and so forth are suspect.
Was it charged with treason?
Well, yes, I'm not sure that it was treason, but it was certainly charged with waging some sort of war, against the Nigerian.
Because somebody compared El Zakizaki with the Kano, the Igbos, and I can't remember, maybe you raised it that. No, we cannot compare.
There are two different things. But I think there was an element of treason there. I have to be plain with our listeners, not our viewers. I'm not sure, but there was an element of treason in the charges, from that point of view. What is quite clear is they said, no, what is done is not treasonable. In other words, what they've also said, is that all these protests that are going on around, you understand, it raises questions. The protests that were going on around, was it in line with the Constitution? Or has it been in violation of the Constitution, the protest itself? And if it's in line with the Constitution, people have been mowed down and killed on that basis, is El Zakizaki not entitled to compensation? Is not entitled, you understand, to be recompensated, as the word might be. So there are many questions for the federal government at this point in time. But it also shows you that we are quick to charge. We are quick to trump up charges, sometimes without any substance. It raises the questions of Showore. It even raises the question of Kanu. And it raises the question, if eventually Igbo comes to Nigeria, whether such charges may be sustained in any viable way.
Among other charges, El Zakizaki was charged for, it's to trial in the court for on an 8-count charge. One of them is culpable homicide. Yes. Another is disruption of public peace and unlawful assembly. Yes. And thankfully, you mentioned some of the protests that were held in Abuja then. But then, apart from all of this, now he has been discharged. Let's look at the role the federal government will play in this case after this. Do we see him going on the street freely?
Well, I'm not even certain that if
they decide under this present administration.
Yeah, I'm not even sure that if they decide to protest now, they will still allow them. I think it's in the DNA of this government. It's in the DNA of this government to suppress free speech. They're doing it in all manner of ways, which I wouldn't even venture into on this program. So it's in their DNA. So if today, as Zak and his supporters go to protest, I'm sure they would do the same thing of stopping them from doing it. But there's also another dimension. Remember that he belongs to a minority sect. You understand? They share it. And there are some Sunnis that don't even regard the Shiites as true believers, you understand, of the Islamic religion. So there's another dimension to it there, apart from the political dimension, But then also the plain dimension is that Zakizaki constitutes himself, you understand, as an alternative, political following in that part. Of course, he's not contesting for office, but people know in Zaria and those places that this man is quite formidable and that he sometimes does not even respect government institutions, authorities. He faced down the chief of army staff. And that's what led, it built up, the momentum built up to this. But let's see what happens, you understand. He's had his day in court. Let's see whether it's going to alter in any way the relationship between him and the government.
Now, the freedom that Buhari and his people enjoyed pre-2015, they said a lot of things on radio, TV, newspapers, on campaign grounds and all that, even in protests. Yes. They don't allow Nigerians to express themselves.
There were so many of us who felt that Jonathan was bordering on being a tyrant. Many of us criticized Jonathan, that he was stopping free speech. Remember, there was this media house that they went and seized some of the publication. So many of us thought that...
That was during Jonathan?
Yes. Many of us thought that Jonathan, you understand, was intolerant of alternative opinions and views. But what we have in this present time is on a different scale. It's on a new level entirely, from that point of view. And it is true, the abuses that Jonathan received, and that some of us in many respects participated in, the protests that he received, because Buhari and Oyegun and a number of his acolytes were always on the streets, you understand, protesting. And they were allowed to freely move around, from that point of view. Nigerians don't receive that freedom anymore. In other words, we've gone back We've gone back to the military era, so it seems, from that point of view. And even, I'm not sure that some regulators were as powerful as they now are under the Jonathan regime, even though Jonathan regime was subject, particularly in a state of national security, to the most virulent attacks you can ever get on a Nigerian president. Do I regret that we participated and some of us criticized Jonathan at that time? No. But do I regret that we don't have the same freedoms that we had then? Yes.
Okay.
We have the time after 6. We'll quickly take a break for some messages. We'll be back with more headline stories.
With Airtel Home Broadband device, your home is connected and you all can focus on the important things in life. Enjoy the finer things in life in the Airtel HBB seasonal offer. Visit any certified Airtel shop to get a 4G MiFi at 9,999 Naira plus up to 55 GB bonus data, or router at 19,999 Naira plus up to 160 GB bonus data. Offer valid while stock lasts. Terms and conditions apply.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Who will rise from the ashes of postponement to claim their place among the greats? And will the greats rise again? Watch the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020 on Supersport from the 23rd of July to the 8th of August. Watch them rise at all gold medal events on 8 dedicated channels. Get and stay connected to DSTV. Watch them rise on Supersport, your world of champions on DSTV.
For a healthy family.
Gigi, Stambik BTC, gang, 909, gang, who it can be, gang, when you use 909, Gigi. Send money via 909, gang. Buy airtime via 909, gang. Sub data via 909, gang. Pay bills via 909, gang. That's the 909 ash, gang. Money miss road and no cash, gang. How you go do birthday bash, gang? That's the 909 ash, gang. 909 is the gang code.
Join the star 909 hash gang today. Stanbic IBTC. It can be.
If something plenty, how do you say it on the streets?
Well, kilo bade is plenty.
What if I add more to it? Let's say I add more and more.
Oh,
so let's say it's now pour like a river anko.
My sister, tawana berekete.
If I add more anko, waiting past brekete.
Well, show you the one mean. Nothing past global rekete now.
Yes, sir. Nothing past Globe Bracket. We go give you 600 Naira free airtime as you deactivate the new Glow SIM. Up to 100% bonus for every data plan where you buy. Plus including 700% bonus on every recharge for new Glow customer them. Or the one where they glow before. Just go activate your new Glow SIM. Recharge or buy data. Make you begin to enjoy Bracket. Hey, carry waka go any Glow authorized dealer to buy your new Glow SIM today.
Unlimited.
32 FM
94.9.
All right, welcome back from that break. 32 FM 94.9. It's still the Breakdown newspaper review, and we're checking some headlines from the dailies. We're analyzing them with our analysts in the studio. You can drop your comments on Facebook and on YouTube. We are live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. 32 FM 949 Ibadan. 32 FM 949 Ibadan. If you also have questions for the analysts, you can also drop them as well. Now, let's take a look at some stories from Oyo State before we go back to some federal stories. Makinde will announce new commissioners any moment from now. CPS Adisa, the Chief Press Secretary to Governor Seyi Makinde, Taiwo Adisa, has stated that his principal is already working on the list of commissioners that will constitute the governor's new cabinet. Recall that in June, Makinde sacked his chief of staff and all the 17 commissioners in the cabinet of Oyo State government. So we're expecting a new list in the next few days. Doctor, do you have any response to that?
I mean, what's interesting with Governor Seyi Makinde is that you can contrast him with President Muhammadu Buhari. If you get into Muhammadu Buhari's cabinet, you can be assured that you will serve the rest of your days for the term of his office there. But of course, 2 years down the line, I think you expect some kind of correction, some kind of amendment, begin to monitor and evaluate your performance. And I think what Seyi Makinde has done is that he's now looking towards the end of his term, preparing for re-election. And so it appears as if it's moving to another level in terms of responding to the needs and the desires of the people. I'm not a government propagandist, but that's the way that I see it. But for you to get rid of 17 in one fell swoop,
Chief of Staff
is a bit extreme. And the Chief of Staff is a bit extreme. It must mean that there's something fundamentally going wrong in terms of governance and that you need to seriously self-correct. But you also have to remember that the cobbling together of the cabinet was an act of political negotiation, political compromise, because there was a number of people, you understand, for a number of groups that supported the governor, and there have been some criticism that the governor ignored, you understand, some of the people that leveraged their support and was able to lift him into the office of governor. And maybe he also wants to respond to that so that he can cement his political base and gather some support, for the home stretch. So, but let's see whether it lifts us in terms of security, because security, this government is becoming abysmal in terms of its performance. That's my view anyway. Some people may disagree, but every day I hear of reports of breakdown of security, robberies and the lot. It's becoming the order of the day. And some people would have said that at least under the late Governor Ajimobi, security was top-notch. So I think that's one area that the governor needs to address, and to address very quickly.
Yeah, you mentioned something quite related to what I'm about to say. Could it be a case of the governor trying to, you mentioned that there were some people who would have helped him,
yes.
and, usually you feel like maybe you owe this set of people. Could it be a case of, let's divide it into two. You guys go first, and then you serve for a while, and let some other people who also should be compensated also serve.
Yeah. It may well be, but I don't know whether you observe the PDP in this state is fractionalized. Some people may disagree, but it actually is. It may be a way also of reuniting the various factions within the PDP, from wherever they've come from, whether it's from the Ladoja side of things, whether it's from the Lamadeshino side of things, or whatever, or the Lane side of things. So it might be a way of cementing, you understand, and beginning to say, okay, well, we're all together, you've done your turn, now it's my turn. I don't have any truck with that. If they're performing well, why sack them? Some of them may come back anyway. Watch out for that.
But is it, do you think all of them is it possible that all of them are happy with this development?
No, there won't be. Certainly, some of them won't be. The people that are enjoying from the status quo will not be. But those who felt left out and felt that we actually paid a lot of sacrifice, we paid our dues, they might begin to have some hope that maybe it will touch them.
But if you ask them, they will say, Rombi, Joba, you, there's no money.
Yeah, it's because of the way that he operates. He's not a typical politician. Other politicians will grease the wheels and that sort of thing. But a lot of times, Seyi Makinde takes decisions on his own without reference to the political structure. And that's why some people feel that his second term, getting a second term, might be more difficult. Not because he's not unable to perform, he performs, but because his ability to wheel, to all the wheels, you understand, of political machinery is a bit suspect. Some will say that.
All right, quickly from Oyo to Ondo State. Yeah, yesterday, Akeredolu's victory was upheld at the Supreme Court, and the entire Jagger has congratulated Akeredolu. But sometimes I just think that must we always go the way of the appeal court, the Supreme Court, after elections?
No, but there were legitimate grounds. He was only retained as governor by the skin of the neck, because Buni, who is the governor of a state, is the acting chairman of the APC. That's illegal. It's unconstitutional. It's not in accordance with the law.
The chairman of a party
yes.
is the governor of the state.
Yes, he's the governor of the state, the chairman of the national party. It shouldn't be. In other words, what saved Akeredolu was that Jagede's chamber, so whoever filed the case on Jagede, did not join Buni. They said if they had joined, the Supreme Court alluded to the fact that if Buni had been joined, in the suit, then of course Akeredolu would have lost the seat as governor of Ondo State. So it's a very, very narrow one. But what it tells APC is they better get their act in order, or their house in order, or else there are going to be more suits like this. And because
But when it comes to this, Dr. Jedokun, it's based on technicalities now, not on what the people want.
Yes, of course, it's based on technicalities.
Legal technicalities.
Yes, legal technicalities. And I'm not one of those who supports that if people have voted, insofar as the majority of the votes, you understand, indicate that somebody has substantial support, then if I were in that position, I'm not, I would retain that person. But of course, if there are so many infractions that we're unable to determine whether that person won or not, then there's justification for saying let's rerun the election. So we must not elect governors by judgment. We must elect them through the ballot box.
All right, so quickly before we open the phone lines, education budget will rise by 50% in 2 years, Buhari. Now, what do we have at the moment?
No, it's abysmal at the moment. We virtually don't have any budget. Have you been to many of these universities? Have you been to many of the institutions of higher learning? There's nothing to write them about. This is an encouraging development. I don't know where the money is going to come from, but let them divert money from the salaries of National Assembly members, from their emoluments, from their allowance. Let them divert it into education. A nation that does not invest in education is going nowhere. Singapore, Malaysia, South Korea, Hong Kong. These are countries that were on the same level with Nigeria in the 60s. But because they invested massively in education, that's why they were able to lift themselves out of poverty. If we are going to lift ourselves out of poverty, insurgency, and many of the things going on, then we must invest in education. And the education in our investment, it must be true to purpose. It must be fit for purpose.
And quickly, Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Abdulrasheed Bawa, has said Nigeria does not need to borrow to finance its yearly budgets, provided leakages in critical sectors of the economy are properly plugged.
I think many of us have said that. Kudos to the young man. You understand? It's what many of us have thought. Fashola came up with a statement yesterday, and I respect Fashola so much. And the statement was a nonsensical statement. This is a sensible statement. We haven't plugged the leakages that come from National Assembly, where there are humongous allowances which are not even approved, by the relevant government body, the executive, the waste that comes to the executive. And I give this instance again. President Biden pays for his food. He pays for things that he uses, you understand, except when, of course, it's an official government function. But yeah, we have everything is paid for by Nigerians. The food of Mr. President is paid for, is catering, even catering of others.
Journeys, traveling.
Travel. Yeah, if the travel is a matter of state for the president, I mean, it should be covered by the government because of security. So we are aware of that. And then sometimes what happens, the political party called the APC, uses the Asor Rock, from that point of view. They don't pay rent. They don't pay for the facilities they use or the catering, and they use it for their political party meetings, their partisan meetings. So things like this, as far as I'm concerned, are leakages. If they are plugged, you will discover that we'll be able to live with it. We're not living within our means. We're living above.
Dr. Jedokun, people who are in the House of Senate, senators, they're supposed to be big men, wealthy men before coming into the House. Now, when they come to the House, they're still looking for how to milk people, the pockets of the country dry. They're supposed to be, they're supposed to be, because the Senate House is a big house. In the past, the senators used to be big people, wealthy people, and they're supposed to give back to the citizens, to the public, to the people they are representing. But now they are even taking more than.
You see, our constitution is very faulty in the way that we set it up. It should be part-time. It should be based on sitting allowances. So when you sit, you understand. If you're not sitting, you don't get nothing. But yeah, you understand, they sit, they don't sit. They are dodging themselves in the toilet or in facilities. Yes, that's what they get paid anyway.
But these people are made men. Let's look at the profile of senators, ex-governors, naval officers, and all of that.
Yeah, but because you're a made man doesn't stop you from being greedy. If inherently you're very greedy, But the point I'm saying is that if you make this unattractive, then you're going to get only people who want to serve. If I'm an ex-governor and everything, and I know that I'm going to be putting much more of my money into it, then except I really have the heart of the people and the desire to serve, I wouldn't go there. You understand? Because, the statistics, and I dare anybody to correct me, is that the day that you enter the National Assembly, you become an instant millionaire with your first salary.
Even as a member of the House of Reps? No, that's the lower chamber.
Reps and Senate. So why not? You understand? And of course, if you're a member of the State House of Assembly, you're going to get a brand new, we don't know whether it's refurbished, brand new, what is it called? Is it Camry? You understand? The dark, what do you call those things? Tinted glasses, non-number plates and that sort of thing.
And you become chairman of events and all these and all that.
Let's look at the crop of people we are breeding. This generation.
Yes.
Most of them grew up to see these big men up there and how they are able to, pocket a lot of money. And it's difficult these days to convince young ones that it's normal for you to get there and serve the people instead of thinking of how to get money from the people.
Yes.
So how then do we get to the point where, we have people there in the Senate, in the House of Reps, who really want to serve?
Well, it's going to be difficult, but I think we structurally need to look at the Constitution, and we need to change the service. We need to change the conditions in terms of service from full-time to part-time. That's the first thing we need to do. And there are some people who are worthy of emulation. Those people too, we need to promote them. And somebody I know, one honorable at the BC, is worthy of emulation, and there are many more. I just mentioned him because I know him personally. We need to promote them, from that point of view. But we need to get to a stage in this constitutional amendment where we make it less attractive to be a member of the House of Rep or Senate or House of Assembly.
All right, we open the studio line so you can call in 0705 5000 949 and 0809 7000 949. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, my name is Adeyanju Yamorola from UI. I'm always after security. In the two airlines you mentioned earlier, there's some set of Southeast. There's some people allow estimate to be filling them. And the other one is that bandits, they were traveling to Borno to learn to train under Boko Haram. I called on this video yesterday that bandits estimate they are Boko Haram. That's number one. Now, and that is, it's going to be discussion today, but we are still in same path now. Bodies are on ground now confronting these Boko Harams that are in Gogon every year. And let's go and do that. It not depend on any government in the East. Arrange boys, confront these Boko Haram to accompany herdsmen. Let's have the best of today.
All right, thank you, Mr. Omola. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, John.
Good morning. John. Doctor, I want to ask a question. Zazaki was released yesterday. Is it because the president is not around? Please, sir, answer me.
Thank you.
Well, I think it was released because there's a court order which says there's no case to answer. So I think they've run out of excuses. Remember that it's for 6 years, it's been kept under lock and key. So all kinds of manner of excuses that they've run out of it. And of course, they have to release him. The fact that the president is not around, I don't think has any impact whatsoever.
Will the president even be in the courts?
No, it wouldn't be in the court. I think it's down to the Attorney General of the Federation.
And don't you think the DSS are only trying to pay what's it called, eye service?
Well, some would say that everybody's eyes are on them because they're after Igboho and they're after Kanu. And therefore,
maybe Mr. President doesn't even send them to that point of just picking up people and doing this.
Well, he may not, but I'm sure he's aware. Remember that he referred to IPOB as a dot in something. You understand? So, of course, it must
that language that they understand and all that. We'll take a break for some messages.
Uncle Dentist, wetin be cavities and how Colgate take they protect my teeth from cavities? Shey they use Kung Fu?
No dear, na hole for teeth they cause most tooth pain will be cavity. But if you use Colgate Maximum Cavity Protection, take brush every day. The confirmed formula could help keep natural calcium inside our teeth. We could protect them from tooth decay.
Time don't reach to upgrade to the world's most chosen toothpaste, Colgate. Because Colgate locks calcium in.
And the Nigerian Dental Association, they recommend Colgate.
It's 6 o'clock in the morning, getting set for another day. Another chance to change my story. I believe in my hustle. I know be lazy person. But life is just stay not big basketballs. If it don't close, I go find another. If I fall down, I go try to recover. If you never walk me, I know they bother. Cause I believe say I go surely prosper. You don't get that shit won't be. We move. No matter what they say, we move.
Whatever life brings, we move. Turn up your dreams. MTN, everywhere you go.
láti gòkè àgùnlà láyé èèyàn nílò ìtọ́sọ́nà ẹni tó mọ̀nà débi àṣeyọrí. FMH International HR àwọn ni gbajúgbajà akọ́ṣẹ́mọṣẹ́ iléeṣẹ́ alárinà tó mọ ojúlẹ̀jà bá ti ń tọ́ni sọ́nà finimọ̀nà nípa bí gbogbo òǹwáṣẹ́ ṣe lè pàdé àwọn òǹgbanisíṣẹ́ pàápàá jùlọ láwọn orílẹ̀-èdè tó wà lókè òkun.
FMH International HR alábàáṣepọ̀ gidi ni wọ́n jẹ́ pẹ̀lú àjọ oníwádìí ìjìnlẹ̀ àgbáyé tá a mọ̀ sí United Nations Volunteer Research Group láti jùmọ̀ tọpinpin wàhálà táwọn ọmọlẹ́yìn ń kojú nídìí ìgbìyànjú ajé lọ sílẹ̀ òkèèrè. ìyẹn ọ̀rọ̀ tó jẹ mọ́ international migration àti international labour activities.
ǹjẹ́ o tiẹ̀ mọ̀ pé o nílò ìmọ̀ tó jinlẹ̀ dáadáa nípa ìlànà à ń tẹ̀lé láwọn pápákọ̀ òfurufú tó fẹ́ gbà sọdá sílẹ̀ òkèèrè. lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ bá a ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀ yìí United Nations Volunteer Research Group pẹ̀lú àjọṣepọ̀ FMH International HR ń ṣe research lórí ẹ̀dùn ọkàn àti ìpèníjà tẹ́ ẹ bá ní. questionnaires táwọn òṣìṣẹ́ FMH bá fún yín lágbègbè yín lẹ́ ó ṣàlàyé ìrírí yín sí.
fún àlàyé lẹ́kùnrẹ́rẹ́ kàn sí wọn ní 3rd and 9th floor Cocoa House Dùgbẹ̀ Ìbàdàn.
telephone 0817 4444 627
àti 081 68 73 7222.
Titan Farms, Titan Rice, Nigeria. Homemade rice with good price. I don't want correct rice. Titan, when you get stone, Titan rice. Better rice. Make you go buy your own. Titan rice.
Oh yes, Titan Rice is a non-mushy, non-sticky and no-stone Nigerian-made rice. Titan Rice is available for nationwide distribution. For inquiry, please call 0906 007 9714 or visit our website via www.titanfarms.org. You can also earn a fortune by investing with Titan Farms today and earn great returns on your investment. Incredible, isn't it? What are you waiting for? Visit our office today at Titan Farms House, opposite Motor Dealers Association Car Lot, Akala Express, off New Garage, Ibadan. Titan Rice, a product of Titan Farms.
Better rice. Make you go buy your own. Titan rice.
Here, we are all champions. With 2 months Showmax Pro for the price of one, you can stream all of the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games and more. Witness history in the making and salute the power of the human spirit. Here, we honor every story in every event. Let's celebrate together with 2 months for the price of one. Stream the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020 live from Supersport on Showmax Pro. Sign up to watch world-class sports, series, movies, and more at showmax.com today.
Zero 0705 5949 0809 7949. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Morning, Alaji.
Alaji Salah from Coca-Cola. I'm disturbed to hear that bandits are migrating to Borno State to get training under Boko Haram. And as Adeshuyi rightly said, even these bandits with their activities, they can be likened to terrorists. So it's a kind of there's no difference between dozen and 6 and half of a dozen. And we implore Mr. President and the federal government of Nigeria to use the newly acquired Tucano jet bomber to deal decisively with these people because they have wreaked more havoc, great havoc on Nigeria and Nigerians. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Alaji. Hello. Good morning. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm John Njoku. Thank you, Doctor, for your submission this morning. My own has to do with acquittal and discharge of President Akizaki and wife. I am happy because in a democratic nation, where rule of law is subject to the supremacy of the nation's security and national interest, the pronouncement from Justice Kunada acquitting and discharging Akizaki and wife of the allegation leveled against them since 2016 and give hope that the judiciary can establish the situation. That the defendants were charged under extractive laws, which is a violation of their rights, and which made the lead counsel, that is Afemi Falana, to make a no-case submission. Government has the opportunity to either appeal against the judgment or let them go home today, as pronounced by the court by discharging and acquitting them. That the statements from the witnesses who were named the security operatives we have considered that lacking evidential values is a welcome development. I am happy. I'm John Njoku. Thank you.
Mr. John. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Dr. Deduko. Please, comrades, Omonologies from Ago. In respect of what the decision of the United States, it's quite shocking that we as Nigerians, and we are in the system of what is going on in the country, we should be firm and be courageous enough within the evidence base on this every day that there is gross violation of human rights in Nigeria. You as the media, you look at the order given that you should not give a detailed report of the bandits or those who are killing our people and the victim again, that we sanction. Thank God for Sarah and some other stakeholders who have dragged this government to court. Look at the criminal aspect of some religion being adopted in some states, a state that claims to be secular. Look at the killing everywhere. I beg everyone, we should be courageous about since we are a citizen. Our life is secure. Nobody can take our life. So speak the truth to the power. There's a gross violation of human rights in Nigeria. And I want to beg you to be wise in selling their weapons to Nigeria, because Nigerian lives are not worthy of anything again. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. Can anyone come out and tell me the difference between APC and PDP with what just happened to Oyo State legislators now? They are birds of the same feather. Even when we have third party, the same will happen. I've said it on this platform that this is a bad system created to us by bad leadership and bad structure. Even the constitution does not or is not friendly with the masses. How can we have good governance, for God's sake? Thank you, Omotolani Abiola Ayon Code. Thank you. Honorable Akinkunmi Camille, can we all see live? Our people are now supporting El Zakzaki against the government. It is well. Hope we won't sing he wants to Islamize this country again, and El Zakzaki and his followers should comport themselves and stop their unnecessary waka about and not moving like they used to do in Kaduna. Thank you for that message. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Benny.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Tayo. Good morning, Dr. Lo Jedoku. This is Dr. Mark. I want to say something about the reason why it looks at the states are refusing our jet from coming. The jet Nigeria is purchasing from coming. When there is injustice in the land, when we have what is called the so-called rulers trying to gag the media, trying to stop people from protesting, trying to stop so many things. They do not want citizens to even have a say. So this is not democracy, so you would expect them to want to call us to order somehow. I want to call on President Muhammadu Buhari and all his other colleagues to sit down and count our losses so far as a nation. All these things they are doing, is it going to move this country forward? Somebody said, people are now, bandits are moving to Borno to be trained. While we have our military men there, we have to check these things. If these jets come back to Nigeria, are we sure they will not blow them off?
Thank you so much. Well, we are wrapping up the show. Dr. Jedoku, Dino Melaye said, imagine a president who doesn't have a certificate attending an education summit. Do you think that is right, or it's wrong or wrong?
Well, certification is not the only way in which you can get ahead, on which you can get skilled up and get equipped. In fact, in places like Britain, we've had prime ministers. John Major didn't have a degree, and John Major wasn't a bad prime minister. So I don't really engage at septis premise. Having said that, if the constitutional requirement is that you should have a certificate, then you should have it. And that's where I would come in, that the president did not appear to have fulfilled the constitutional requirement. That's where I would go, in terms of that.
But he lost the certificate.
Well, there's an argument whether having studied to certificate level or having certificate qualifications is the basis on which you can contest. My own view is that it's not enough to study to it. You must show you understand.
But all his trainings in the military won't be wasted.
Well, it won't be wasted. That's why I said that I'm not one of those who goes for certification, that you could lose life experience, experiential learning, all those sort of things can be credited to you. So I don't think Daniel Malaya is making an active point. The point he should have made is that the government of Nigeria is not spending what they should on education, and it's hypocritical for them to go to this summit without coming back with something fundamentally different.
All right, it's time to go. The program returns tomorrow morning, 6 o'clock. Dr. Ojedoko, thank you for your time with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. My name is DELE ADEYANJU.
And I am GBEMISOLA SOYEMI. Coming up next is the Smart Kids Show.
The station admired by other radio stations. 32 FM 94.9.
Show me your 32.